Welcome again to another video, and in this video we are gonna react to one of most viewed videos of Amdo's art, how the best way to practice art. And yeah, let's just get into it.
The little kids nowadays are doing everything digital. Back in my day, I had to walk 90 miles to school, I had to draw with rocks on the cave wall and paint with the blood of my enemies. Okay, so I want to talk to you guys about one of my favorite methods of practicing drawing. And we're talking about just drawing, not rendering or anything like that. Straight up drawing. Well, if you have trouble drawing hands, like we all do, you can pull up some pictures on Pinterest or on Google Images of hands and do some really quick studies.
So here he's talking about how to study art, and I don't think that most of the people know how to study art, and I was one of them. And I knew how to study art recently, like 1 year ago, and that really changed the game for me. And if you don't know how to study art, I really encourage you to go online and search how to study art. You will get thousands of videos, I think, on YouTube also. And yeah, that was it.
Time or as much time as you want, and it's really simple because all I use are a pencil and an eraser. Has to be perfect. I mean, there definitely are drawings in my sketchbooks that I just do not like at all, but that's okay to me because I use it as a tool to develop my skills as opposed to something.
So the points he is talking in this video, he is saying that it's better to practice not digitally but with real paper and pencil, and agree with what he just said. And because you can't do many edits to this, because after erasing 10 times, I think paper will start to tear, and that will look really bad for the art also. And yeah, if you want to practice with a pencil and a paper.
Gone. And the thing is, the programs that we use for digital art are so forgiving that you can never really destroy a canvas. You can make as many mistakes as you want. You can cover it up as many times as you want. You can go back for as many edits as you want. So sometimes if we're practicing something, if we're rendering something, we can get caught in this loop of endless edits, and it can be really hard to move on from a piece. And by the time you get to the end of a painting and you start doing those minuscule edits, that's the point where your learning actually slows down quite a bit. So when you're sketching physically on a sheet of paper, you can make mistakes and you can erase them, but that paper can only take so much erasing. So at a certain point, you've got to move on to the next piece. And honestly, when it comes to drawing, and we're not talking about rendering on a digital tablet, but when it comes to drawing, the most information you're going to absorb is actually going to come out of that sketching phase where you're analyzing, you're breaking down, and you're trying to understand.
So he just break down how to study art properly. So he just said observe, break down, and analyze. So that's main 3 things you need to be doing for your practice sessions. Like if you want to draw hand, we all suck at drawing hands, but if you want to learn how to draw hands, then you need to first observe, then break down, then analyze, and that's it. And you need to also memorize things. And I would like to include another thing: you need to also memorize. So to memorize, I will suggest, after you draw once, draw it again without even looking at the reference or the drawing you made. The memorization part, you won't find it on any YouTube videos or anything, and you will find it many more other things, like how to activate flow when you are drawing, in my masterclass on Skillshare, which you can watch absolutely for free. Click the link in bio, you will get like 1 month free trial for Skillshare, and you can watch that class for free. And yeah, let's go ahead and watch this video.
Way that I can read and understand using only lines. And of course, this is just my preference. I like to stop at lines, but you don't have to stop at this. You could even go in with some sketches and some rendering to actually learn more about values. You could even try to apply some paints to your pages to see how you fare with colors. I personally just hate setting up paint and cleaning up afterwards. So it is not for me. I am lazy. I mean, you could experiment with.
And he also reminded me one of the most important things while practicing drawing. You need to know what you need to practice. So like I suck at drawing toes, I mean feet, and I need to practice, but I am not getting enough time. But yeah, I need to practice though that, and I knew it while I was drawing. So you need to be drawing every day, know your weaknesses so that you can improve upon them.
Different materials like charcoal, whatever it is, but that's also very dirty, so I don't like that. But you know, I prefer to keep it clean with a mechanical pencil. And as I flip through these pages, as I show you guys the different process videos and the b-roll, you're gonna see a lot of different things. There's anything from portraits of people to just drawings of animals, you know, where I'm trying to observe the shapes that they're made up of, trying to learn some of the anatomy that they have. I mean, some of these things might not ever actually contribute to anything that I put up on Instagram, but it's just interesting to learn about things and to see how different things work. You know, one day you could just be sitting there thinking, okay, what does a rhino actually look like from a profile view? So you go on Google Images, you look it up and you sketch it down, and you kind of leave an imprint of that in your brain. So you have that in the back of your mind. So the next time you're asked to draw a rhino, you kind of have a bit of memory of what they actually look like. It's just like interesting stuff that you might not otherwise have gotten to if you were painting on a blank canvas with all that pressure on your digital tablet. And as you're looking at some of these hand drawings, some of these animal drawings, the really beautiful thing about this is I am focusing on the form and the shapes. There's no color palettes, there's no blend modes, there's no crazy rendering that I gotta do to make it look good, you know, and there's no expectation for it to look a certain way. So it's this super simplified, super easy way to practice drawing. And as I flip through some of these older pages, you can see some of these drawings where I actually use a little bit of shading. There's a bunch of like little cars here that I did because, you know, I'm pretty interested in cars. I mean, it really doesn't have to take long. It could just be 30 minutes sitting down, you and your pencil and your sketchbook, and just
another big thing, another important thing that you need to know, that when you are practicing, you don't need to go for perfection. You are learning, and while you are practicing, suppose you are practicing hands, you don't need to show those hands to anybody because they are not supposed to be shown to people, but they are not supposed to be shown to people, and they are just your time with your paper and your pencils. And yeah, they don't need to be perfect all the time when you are sketching or practicing art. So keep that in mind.
Subject on your laptop screen. And as I flip through to some of the older drawings, so this is I did actually some style studies from one of my favorite Disney artists, Glenn Keane. I tried to look at the way that he simplified the face, and I think this was during a time where I was feeling a little bit of art block with my own art style. I wasn't really sure how to stylize a character effectively, so I said, you know what, maybe it's time to just go back to the basics and learn a little bit about shapes and forms. Just do some simple sketching from somebody I really admire. You know, there was this one time I was feeling a little bit iffy about the anatomy I was drawing, so I went on Google and I looked up some anatomical images and did some really quick sketches, so you can see that there. And some animal drawings here to study the shapes of what I'm looking at. Again, it really is just anything goes. Whatever it is that comes to mind that you think you want to work on a little bit can go into your sketchbook, and that page does not have to be perfect. And you might be like, okay, but I could just do this on my iPad or something.
You need to be focused on how much advanced you become in your journey, on your artistic journey, but you still need to be practicing the basics. And basics are the most important thing that anyone can practice. Yeah, you can practice advanced level things, but what if your basics aren't right anymore? So keep checking out your basics every now and then, and yeah, that's it.
But I think there's something special about being able to flip through a sketchbook and have everything in one spot in this physical package. And I've had plenty of experience in both traditional and digital art, and I think no matter how good the technology is, there's always a sense of disconnect between you and the canvas, just a tiny bit. It's the feeling of having to look for these files, pulling them up, storing them in these places, you know, whereas with this, you can just flip through the pages, everything is there, you can find a blank page and just go wild. And honestly, nothing can really replicate the feeling of this lead on paper. There is a tactile nature to drawing with lead on paper that just can't really be replicated anywhere else. And the limited number of edits that you could do that kind of forces you to move on to the next drawing, You know what else is cool is you could bring this thing around with you really easily anywhere you go. If you damage it or if you lose it, it's only like 15-20 bucks. It's not like losing $1,000 iPad. I think what it comes down to is it's just simple. It's the most basic way of actually drawing. So it takes all the fluff out of it and it forces you to really just analyze, put down on paper, and absorb in the process. In terms of size, this one is a 5.5 by 8.5 inches, which I think is a little bit small, but really portable if you need that portability. And this big boy right here, I think is 9 by 12, I believe. And I think it's a great size because you could do a lot of small drawings on a single page, or you could do one big drawing on the page. There's enough space for that. I mean, it comes down to your personal preference, but you don't want something that's like a miniature Bible, you know, like that's ridiculous. You can't even move your fingers around on that. And I see a lot of you guys actually commenting about how you use your finger to
So
draw
I don't think there is anything to talk about in the rest of the video. So yeah, that was it for this video. And the things he talked about, they are absolutely essential. And I don't think and yeah, this video is very beginner friendly. You can use this video as a basis, but if you want to practice, if you want to improve your drawings even faster, then already I have mentioned I have a master class on Skillshare which you can access absolutely for free with you if you use the link in the bio. And yeah, that's it for this video. See you in the next video. Goodbye.